It's a bit chilly today, but that's okay because I've got the Bosch Race motor, or the CXR. In fact, I've got the bike the wrong way around. There we go, you can see it better now. You'll notice it because it's grey in colour, and it's also got CXR written on it. So while it's their top of the range motor, you can't really find it on very many bikes. It's on basically only the high-end bikes from various brands, and it is their highest performing motor. Okay, so let's get on with the stats of the system then. What have we got going on here? Well, what we've got here is 400% assist. So that's one of the big feature differences between the standard Bosch motor and this. To get 750 watts out, you actually have to put less watts in, which means that the motor's going to feel more vivacious and more bright in the way it responds, probably need less leg effort. But remember, the way this motor works is very much connected to torque balance. Let's say leans towards torque rather than cadence. So you put your pressure on your legs, put your foot pressure on the pedals, and this motor responds immediately. Because this motor has a new software tune called Race Mode. So you still have Eco, Tour, EMTB Plus, etc., but you have Race. And that obviously is meant for people who want a very high performance feeling motor at that moment in time. We have 750 watt peak, 250 watt average, 100 Newton meters of torque. Also, the weight of the motor is around 2.7 kilos. So they've reduced it by about 200 grams compared to the standard motor. That's through the casing and various bits inside the motor, but that's quite a lot of weight that they've taken off there. So that makes this really competitive. Right, this system uses 2 battery types, or 3 if you include the extender. So you can either use a 600 watts, which is what this one's got in it, or you can use an 800 watt hour. You can also use the extender in combination with a 600 watt hour battery and the 800 watt hour battery, which means you have a very strongly performing motor when it comes to range. One thing that Bosch did tell us when we went to the launch of this motor was the fact that this motor does consume more energy than the standard motors. Once you've taken into account the 600 watts peak is now 750 and the torque is, instead of 85 is now 100. There's another couple of features that this motor's got. New display, 400 CX display. So the overrun of this motor is also extended now, so it has a bit of a longer, more reactive overrun than the standard motor. There is more going on with this motor though than the standard system, and that's called the ABS Pro, which works in cahoots with Magura. And I think you can also use TIP as well, but basically this braking system gives you ABS control on the front wheel. There is an extra disc on the front wheel for speed control, sensing the front wheel movements, and the rear wheel tilt and speed is all controlled by a sensor in the motor, a special chip. So that's kind of a new feature, which is very important. As well is right here, it's the TRP A12 derailleur. This is an electronic shifting derailleur and it works in combination with the Bosch motor. You can have free shift, auto shift or manual shift. It will also automatically select the gears for you if you decide that you want it to. So you can set the RPM and it'll always keep you in that gear, or you can just do it completely manually, which is my preference, to be honest. One thing which is worth mentioning is this video is logistically supported by Bosch, who've sent me the bike, and also don't forget the channel sponsor Liat, who support the channel and help me keep going. But the main thing now is to get up on the trail and test this motor system and show you how also the tuning works on it, because it's really interesting. Actually, I've discovered quite a few things about this. Got the computer, you switch it on like this. Kiosk CX400C, CXR, that tells you a thing. Now, I've got the shift in manual mode. Something I've noticed about this, you don't really need to use the race mode very frequently. And that's the thing, I mean, the EMTB Plus mode is already pretty good. I mean, it becomes more, but almost done. I'm already having to brake uphill. This motor is very responsive. I think that's the thing. As soon as you tap the pedal, like, look at this. You see that? Barely even tapping the pedal. Like no foot pressure at all. And the bike just surges forward. No other motor has that responsive. The only other motor that comes close to that level of response is Marl, in my experience, but this is the most responsive on the market, basically. And I'm in NTV Plus mode. Right. Okay, so here we got, let's show you this. So what we've got here in this corner is pretty rocky and techy. Can't see it very well from the camera, but what I want to do here is do something on the app to improve traction. I want to see the difference because at this point here, I'm going to set the traction level. Okay, to set traction, you go into Flow app. You should be connected to the bike. Yeah, I'm connected to the bike. Now, you go into custom riding modes, and I'm going to go to race. Assistance, I'm going to leave it at +5, but the dynamic, this is what I'm going to change. I'm going to change it to -2. When it's in -2, you should find it has increased traction. On manual mode, 6th gear. Okay, yeah, you can feel it. The motor has pretty much no slip at all. That was impressive. You can feel that. Even in race mode. Also, I've noticed it's calmed down the system a bit. You get this punchy gear change with the race, but not if you turn the dynamic down, because I had the dynamic maxed. So the grip now and the traction, but you can feel the overrun more as well. So that's an interesting feature. Traction control, change the dynamic, and you can get pretty much whatever kind of traction you want. All right, so I'm going to do this bit now twice. I'm going to do it in -2 and then in +5 and see the difference. Pedal response though is supremely fast. It's the fastest on the market. Okay. It really gets you through things. The overrun, there's no doubt for technical climbing, this thing is difficult to beat. Absolutely difficult to beat. Right, now let's go and try that again. Okay, let's go back to that. Dynamic +5. So now let's see how it rides. NTB Plus to start. Race mode. The pedal response is just unbelievable. Okay, the dynamic is much faster. I can feel it there. I'm having to brake, but the bike can do a tighter turn because I've got more reactive traction there, more reactive on the pedals. Bike feels a little bit more nervous, so you need some control there and skills to figure out how that's going to work. Right, you can't do that without... Wow, this bike is so quick to respond. Right, as you can see there on that section, this motor is so quick. I don't quite know how they do it, to be honest. It reacts faster than I can react. Quite impressive. The dynamic shift there, I'd say +5, which I set it to often on the normal motor. On this motor, it's even more punchy. In race mode, I need to tune that down to about +3, probably to be happy. Super reactive setup, and you can control the traction. -2 will give you lots of dynamic response, but still keep that rear wheel under control. It's impressively well controlled. It would be cool though if you could tune it from the computer, but you know, maybe that's a software update in the future. Whoa! Look, everyone, using race mode. I'm in NTB Plus mode here. If I put to race mode, I don't really feel a difference on this kind of section. But when it gets techy and steep, that's when you feel the difference. And on sharp corners. I think cornering is one of the aspects where this high-speed response is really noticeable. One thing to note about this bike and this motor is it was designed for racing or very high performance e-mountain biking. I would say it's pretty unnecessary for most riders because it's that responsiveness that you've got that, like just there, you just immediately picks up. No lag at all. My auto ABS is working. We do have ABS, don't forget. Even uphill. We've had 5 activations, so there's 5 times the ABS has saved me from slipping. This trail is narrow. In fact, something you start to notice. Ooh, you can pop the front round there. Right, here we notice the race motor, the low down immediate response. Right, I put it in the MTB Plus mode. It's good, but here in race, oh, it's even better. Also there, I didn't need to put much pedal pressure, and that extra assistance with the 400% got me up that bit with no fuss at all. I mean, you can basically extended boost or overrun your way up the hill with this system. There, it worked. I mean, it's so comfortable. This motor is never giving you a rest. Constantly needs you to pay attention to what's going on in race mode. Yeah, the most reactive motor on the market, there's no doubt. Competition is good. Here we go. Slow corner. Bike just immediately responds. Step on the pedal, boom, off you go. Oh, I don't need to do anything. The bike just takes you around. The torque is impressive. The race mode gives you extra assistance and extra low down torque with less effort. It's really windy up here. Around those tight corners. The reactivity of this motor is a key feature of the race package. Now, the ABS basically requires this module here to function. If you don't have that module and you don't have the latest software and motor, it doesn't work. So you need the either CX normal one or CXR. So there's three options for the ABS. There's off, normal, trail, and then there's race pro. Now I set it to race pro, which means it won't interfere and get in the way of your ride. It'll sort of leave you a little bit of time. So we're going to do a descent now. I've reset it and we'll see how many times it interferes or intervenes in the ride. You can see on basically perfect condition. Okay, here we are, Capitano. And this is going to be perfect for testing the Auto Shift. I'm going to prepare my gears for each corner and just give you a rundown on how it rides. We can also listen to the motor and see how noisy it isn't, or it is. I'm going to ride this in race mode. So right, I'm freewheeling down. I'm just going to set myself into the right gear. There we go. And I didn't have to pedal, and I'm in the right gear. That's where this thing is amazing. By the way, using the 600 watt hour battery saves you a kilo, and the bike feels way more maneuverable. I see what riders are going, look at that, there we go. Auto shifted myself into the right gear. I was automatically in the right gear. Trail conditions are perfect. Riding easy going today. So here we go. I've got a tight corners coming up in the descent. Shifted again. Bike is in the right gear. Preparing a gear, I'm in 11. Oh, be careful. So when you shift, make sure the motor's actually done it for you. Don't really need race mode actually. Put it in race mode. Whoa! That's when you need race mode. Bit of boost over the jump, so just give it a pedal whack. Woo! 6 activations on the ABS. I've shifted again. Should be in the right gear. For this response here, yes, I am. This free shifting or post shifting or whatever you want to call it is really fantastic. Okay, I'm shifting again. Tight corners, I'm in the right gear. Yeah. By the way, this bike is really good. Very quiet. Ooh, some off camber there. In the right gear still. I wanted a bit more push. I'm noticing the race motor out of corners gives you way more leverage than the other motors. Immediacy and leverage. Right, so update. 10 times the ABS has intervened. First point. Second point, I'm basically always in the right gear. I don't have to stress myself about turning the cranks. Put myself in the right gear. I just click that button and it turns the motor on, puts it in the right gear. The bike is so ready. I mean, some people almost complain about it, but I think the responsiveness is the key now if you want a high performance motor. Torque response, not cadence. I'm in the wrong gear, so I'm not going to pedal. I'm just going to shift, and I'm in the right gear. Whoop-ah. Yeah. Oh, gave myself another activation there. Just choose the lines, and everything else just kind of gets on with it. Here we go, in the right gear, yes, because I told it to be. Sit down 2 gears. Go shift. You've got to know how to use it, but if you know how to use it, it's the best thing you're going to find on the market. Right, I finished the test ride, and I think there's fundamentally a few things we can learn. I mean, Bosch are often seen as really conservative, but I think this motor kind of proves that Bosch are not conservative. This thing is absolutely responsive, powerful, more than enough torque. I mean, you're at the limit of control. You need to be in race mode, a very good rider with very good pedal feedback control, very good leg control. Get the most out of this. That being said, with the app, you can tune it a lot, and obviously for me, if you're going to make any tunes in the app, you go to the custom riding modes, especially in race mode, and you hit the dynamic and you put it at sort of -1 or -2. That will give you a smoother control, a little bit more powerful than the MTB Plus mode, but if you're sort of like not so confident, I think that's what you should do. If you're in +5 mode, it's good, but there you can definitely feel it's more sensitive to your leg inputs. So -2 just backs it off a little bit and gives you an impressive feel on the motor. From a traction control point of view, this is one of the top motors on the market. It's not weak. Peak power, 750 watts, it's more than enough. And the one thing that you must know about this motor is it is actually legally registered with the UCI, so it has the absolute limits that you can do with a race motor for e-bike racing. On the tight switchbacks, as you go around those switchbacks, you can feel this motor giving you the extra assist, the immediate responsiveness, and it's improved and faster around the corners than the MTB Plus mode for sure. One of the things about this motor, it's only limited to certain bikes, so you have to remember that, so you're going to have to find the high-end bikes. I think I'd be very interested, apart from this bike, which is quite impressive, the Yeti LTE. I think the Long Travel e-bike has one as well. You know, you're getting a great bike, because that's the point. If you're going to get this motor, you might as well have a bike with it that actually complements the performance of the motor. So great brakes, great suspension, good wheels, and that comes in at the higher price range. I don't see the point of having a motor like this on a lower end bike where your performance downhill is going to suffer quite significantly compared to a bike like this on descending, especially if you're racing. So with that in mind, our next video, we're going to compare this motor to a Bosch Performance CX, just the standard one, the non-race variant, to see how they are. Right, hopefully that's been interesting. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye everybody.